I was thinking that this kind of crime is common among men only. But this woman proved me wrong that truly what a man can do, a woman can do it even more. An assistant pastor of Getwell Church involved in a romantic relationship with a minor. And such act can never and will never be tolerated in our society. This story is about the fall from grace to grass of a female assistant pastor who goes by the name as Lindsey Whiteside, a 29 years old assistant pastor and a basketball coach. Before we dive deep into the story, please subscribe to my channel, like, and comment your thoughts about this story. I'm going to uncover the shocking, dark secrets of this female assistant pastor that people didn't know about. Lindsey Whiteside grew up with a calling of ministerial assignment from her young age. Raised in the church, she always had an earnest devotion to the ministry, a soft-spoken lady with a tender heart of affection for preaching to the congregation, a fire in her eyes when talking about faith in the ministry. After high school, she got more involved working in the house of the Lord, also coaching youth basketball, working with teenagers, helping lead small groups. Her warmth, her charisma, and her ability to connect made her beloved in her community by many. By her mid-20s, Lindsey had landed a role that felt like a dream: youth pastor at Getwell Church in Hernando, DeSoto County, just outside of Memphis. She also became assistant girls basketball coach at DeSoto Central High School. She seemed to straddle faith and mentorship perfectly, guiding young girls both on the basketball court and in their spiritual lives. Church members praised her energy, her dedication. Some said she had a rare gift. She could comfort someone in pain and also challenge them with the gospel. Her sermons weren't long or showy, but personal. She spoke of redemption, of love, of second chances. She was exactly what a generation of young believers needed: confident in her calling, humble in her service. But beneath the surface, something darker was unfolding. Between May and November 2024, Lindsey began forming an intimate relationship with one of the girls she was supposed to guide, someone more than a mentee. Over time, she leveraged her position of trust. She wasn't just a coach or youth pastor, she was an authority figure. The girl, vulnerable and seeking affirmation, found comfort in Lindsey's attention. But what felt like mentorship to some was manipulation and grooming to others. The district attorney's office would later build a case showing the extent of their private communications. According to prosecutors, there were over 64,000 pages of text messages and handwritten notes exchanged. What started as pastoral care developed into something criminal. In late 2024, authorities stepped in. A DeSoto County grand jury indicted Lindsey on a charge of felony sexual battery of a minor, a serious accusation considering her role in the church. The small congregation and broader community were stunned. Church members who had once looked up to her now faced a painful reckoning. During the court proceedings, the district attorney, Matthew Barton, was vocally outraged. He argued for a heavy sentence, seeking the maximum, which could have meant decades in prison. But in October 2025, the judge handed Lindsey 3 years of house arrest and 7 years of probation. For many, especially the victim's family and community observers, the sentence felt dangerously lenient. Barton publicly called the ruling an abomination of justice. He raised questions about whether her use of the gospel and her pastoral role had shielded her from more severe punishment. The fallout didn't stop at the sentencing. The lightness of Lindsey's punishment ignited outrage beyond the courtroom. Critics said the system favored her because she was in a position of power and faith, not the typical image of a criminal. Complicating things further, a school board member, Michelle Henley, wrote a letter of support for Lindsey, which deeply disturbed many in the community, because defiling a minor is a serious crime in our society, and they should be protected and cared for, and not to take advantage of. Henley was later removed from her role as chair of the DeSoto County School Board, partly due to the controversy stirred by her support for Lindsey. But then the story took an even darker turn. As federal investigators got involved in October 2025, Lindsey was federally indicted on transporting a minor across state lines for assault purposes, in addition to coercion and enticement charges. The unsealed court documents revealed that between May and November 2024, she persuaded or coerced this minor into a romantic and inappropriate acts with her, and that in July 2024, she drove the girl from Tennessee into Mississippi to engage in this behavior. Sheriff Thomas Tuggle of DeSoto County expressed strong resolve. Justice will always prevail. We're going to continue to fight for the most vulnerable members of our community. For Lindsey, this fall was more than legal. It was spiritual. Once a pastor who preached redemption, love, forgiveness, and second chances, she had become the subject of national headlines and deep moral revulsion. Her church membership, her reputation, all of it was tarnished. Some in the congregation defended her. Others felt betrayed. There were questions inside the church. How could someone who was supposed to shepherd youth abuse that trust? Did the institution of the church fail to protect the vulnerable? Was there a culture enabling such act? Meanwhile, the victim's family felt the trauma of having their private pain exposed publicly. For them, faith, once a source of strength, became deeply complicated. Trust in spiritual authority was eroded. District Attorney Barton didn't stop at the house arrest verdict. He filed motions to void the sentencing, to unseal records, and to push for more accountability as she pleaded guilty for the crime she committed. Because the double standard was very unnecessary, and anyone that commits such crime should get a suitable punishment by law, either a man or a woman regardless. To avoid any future occurrence, and no one is above the law. In most cases, if a man defiled a minor, he would probably get 20 years imprisonment or more. So it shouldn't be different when a woman commits the same crime. This is some of the questions and concerns of many people in the community and some church members. His argument was that the community had a right to know what happened inside of trusted institutions. Lindsey's story, once a rising star in youth ministry, became a cautionary tale. It underscored a tragic truth. Power and faith can be corrupted, especially when someone abuses spiritual authority. In DeSoto County and beyond, the case sparked broader conversations. Protection for minors is very important in religious settings. How can churches impose a better safeguards for vulnerable people? Legal accountability for religious leaders. Is there too much deference to pastor status in court? We pray for divine healing for victims and beyond prosecution. How does the community support survivors emotionally and spiritually? When it comes to institutional responsibility, what role do churches play in preventing abuse, not just reacting to it? As Lindsey awaits her federal trial, her life has entered an uncertain limbo. The house arrest that once seemed like a quiet retreat now feels like a gilded cage, as she is going to jail this time, not just house arrest anymore. The once bright pulpit she stood on before and preached the gospel now echoes with judgment, sorrow, and painful unanswered prayers. Investigation is still ongoing, and I will let you know when there is a new update on this case. For the community, both church members and residents of DeSoto County, her fall is a wound as she brought shame and dishonor to her religious beliefs at large and to the same God she prayed to and represent. But also a warning that faith does not grant immunity from consequence. Trust can be broken. Institutions meant to uplift can also protect the powerful. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Let me know your thoughts about this story. Do you think the courts is being hashed to her or fair for sending her to jail instead of the house arrest? Let me know at the comments section and see you on my next video.